You know, usually this would be the time that I would say, welcome to another episode of Toyota History Tuesday or something like that. But today, we're doing something a little bit different. Welcome to an episode of Toyota History Taco Tuesday, because today we're talking about the Toyota Tacoma. The history of the Toyota Tacoma actually starts in 1970 when Toyota sent over their Helix truck to the United States market for the first time. Now, the Helix was a notoriously indestructible rear-wheel drive, durable little pickup truck. Weirdly though, Toyota decided that the name Helix wasn't good for the American market. They decided to simply call it the Toyota truck or the Toyota pickup. It really didn't even have a name for quite a while. So the Toyota pickup was plugging along on the American market, but a couple years later, a Toyota vehicle called the 4Runner was debuted, which featured a covered bed version of the Toyota Helix chassis with the ability to drive off-road, the ruggedness, and started really developing into this sports utility vehicle category, which was very new at the time. So this caused Toyota to reconsider their Toyota Helix in the American market, seeing as it didn't really have a name, and it was sort of an afterthought to think about the American truck market. But since American creation, the 4Runner, and if you're not familiar with the history of the Toyota 4Runner, check 2 or 3 weeks back on Toyota History Tuesday. There is an episode on it, and it does have a pretty cool history. But because of the popularity of the Toyota 4Runner, it brought Toyota's attention to the American truck market, and they decided to make some changes. In 1989, both the Toyota pickup and the 4Runner would get a facelift and upgrades. Without even having a real name, the Toyota pickup would win Motor Trend's Truck of the Year in 1989 as well. And Toyota USA brought in Kevin Hunter, a hotshot younger designer, to reconsider and redesign the American Toyota pickup. In 1994, for the 1995 model year, the Toyota Tacoma was debuted for the first time. That's right, after all the success and notoriety that these vehicles finally got, they finally got this thing called a name. And they called it the Toyota Tacoma. Some people call it their Taco. And Tacoma refers to a city in Washington. So it's a bona fide American vehicle for the American market. You will not find Tacomas outside of the Western Hemisphere. Maybe Central South America a little bit, but mostly just US and Canada. In 1998, Toyota would debut the pre-runner package of the Toyota Tacoma. This was a more powerful engined two-wheel drive version of the Tacoma, and the name pre-runner refers to a vehicle that runs a race before the race is taking place. It pre-runs the course. In 1998, the TRD, Toyota Racing Development Tacoma, was released as well. That is the vehicle that I'm sitting in right now for the 2020 model year. So you could call this episode Toyota History Taco Tuesday in a 2020 TRD Tacoma if you wanted to. Now, the TRD Tacoma in this 1998 release, with a partnership with Toyota Racing Development, had a bunch of really cool features. This included a 254 horsepower V6 engine, a finer tuned suspension, and a rear locking differential. In the year 2000, the Toyota Tacoma would get a style upgrade, including around the grille and headlights, and they announced the XRunner package as well. By 2003, the Toyota Tacoma was more popular each subsequent year. And by 2004, the Tacoma was almost a leader in its class, which was now considered the mid-sized pickup truck, although it started as a compact pickup truck when it was first released. Toyota unveiled the second generation Toyota Tacoma at the Chicago Auto Show. It was bigger and more powerful, and it was an extremely versatile vehicle, considering that it had 18 different configurations with different trim packages, upgrades, and things like that. The second generation Toyota Tacoma featured an engine called 1GRFE engine, which was a 4-liter V6. It came standard with 236 horsepower, 266 pounds of torque, 1,650 pounds of payload capacity, and 6,500 pounds of towing capacity. So this was a rugged, strong little vehicle, considering that it was only a mid-sized pickup, and still is actually. They also introduced the XRunner trim to replace the not selling so well SRunner trim. You know, because X's are cooler than S's, we all know that. This XRunner was lower by 2 inches, had an X-brace suspension system, and 18-inch wheels. So by 2005, the Toyota Tacoma was the best-selling truck in its class, and it sold 48,000 more trucks than Ford. In the years 2005 to 2010, Toyota did experience a problem with rust on the Tacoma's frame that they did issue a recall and replaced frames for free. It was problematic, but they did make improvements to prevent this from happening in further models. In 2009, more safety features were instituted into the Tacoma, and it actually won the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety's top safety pick. Now, this was actually one of the very few smaller trucks to win this award, so it was a pretty big deal. Toyota, with their reputation for reliability and safety, it is totally in their character to have this happen. In 2012, the Tacoma was refreshed again, receiving exterior and interior upgrades. In 2015, at the Detroit Auto Show, the third generation of the Toyota Tacoma was unveiled. It got a little bit bigger again. It had more powerful steel to the frame. The rear differential, the rear axle, and the suspension were all tweaked and improved. They were improved to better on-road performance without sacrificing off-roading performance, which is a tough line to walk sometimes. They increased the luxury of the interior as well. And if you are thinking that improving on-road capabilities perhaps sacrificed off-road capabilities, Toyota did release the off-road TRD package, which had a terrain select and a crawl mode to basically allow you to conquer whatever it is you might be driving on. In 2016, the TRD Pro package was released, and this TRD Pro package sold 200,000 units in its first year. It featured a classic Toyota grille that had the name Toyota across the front instead of just the emblem. It had fog lights, it had a skid plate, it had catback exhaust, and it had Fox brand internal bypass shocks, which best in the business. And this did set a sales record for this trim package. So where are we today? It is the #1 selling truck in the mid-sized truck category. It is rugged, reliable, and versatile. This little truck is capable of getting you to and from work with 21 miles to the gallon, but also is capable of driving on sand, rocks, swampy conditions, and all sorts of off-road conditions as well. It is well known in the off-roading community for its capabilities, and it has gotten a style update for this 2020 year, which includes exterior style updates, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and Amazon Alexa capabilities as well. Basically every year from 2012 to 2019, the Tacoma has sold more units every single year except for one. I think 2013 spiked above 2014, but every other year the Tacoma has increased in units sold, and really from its debut, it increased every single year up until the Great Recession. So really between 1995 and 2006, it basically increased in units sold every year, and for all intents and purposes from 2012 to the current day, the Tacoma has increased in units sold, and it really has earned its spot as the #1 mid-sized truck on the market. So that's where the Tacoma is today. This little rugged sucker is sticking around in the off-road community, the trucking community, and just the everyday vehicle community. I want to talk about a specific Tacoma that we have on the lot today. It's a 2020 off-road upgraded Toyota Tacoma SR5. This is a 4x4. If there's going to be an off-road focus, you want to have that 4x4. It has the quicksand color, which I think is really cool. Dirt's not going to show as much, but if you want to really go mudding, it'll be all over the place anyway. It has a 6-inch lift kit. I can slide underneath that thing real easy. It's really tall. NFAB Nerf bars, Toyo OC MT tires, 20-inch fuel podium wheels, a 30-inch LED light bar. It has a blackout package for styling. It has a custom bed rack. It has a high lift jack. It has tread plates for those situations where you need a little bit of extra tread. It has a custom window tint, a spare tire lock, and of course, you're gonna have your scratch kit as well. This vehicle also features a V6 engine with 276 horsepower and 265 foot-pounds of torque. Gets 20 miles to the gallon. It comes with the Toyota Safety Sense, which has the pre-collision system with pedestrian detect, dynamic radar cruise control, lane departure alert, automatic high beams, vehicle stability control, importantly for off-roading, traction control, and of course the anti-lock braking system. So this vehicle's sitting literally right in front of the front doors of our dealership. It is looking for a home. It does not belong on this dealership. It belongs off the road, really, in my opinion. So if you were interested, feel free, give us a call, 281-357-4000. We're happy to have somebody test drive it. This truck needs someone who's going to take it where it belongs, which is not on the roads, in my opinion. But, I digress. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Mitchell. This has been another episode of Toyota History Tuesday. And tune in next week for another episode. I'll see you then.